First, let me start with Prince to my left. Prince Derek Adjei. Good morning.
Good morning, Senator.
I hope you're well.
Like most Ghanaians, we are alive.
You are alive. Being alive is good enough.
It's good enough. Under the circumstances, you can't complain, but hope for a change. And I find it very refreshing listening to Professor Alabi, the conversation you just had. I think Ghanaians are very hopeful that change will come, and that with that change, will be a president with an absolute majority to continue to transform Ghana like he did before. Reason being that without the majority that he needs in Parliament, he cannot do very much. Because the MPP will definitely thwart his effort. It's very clear that the slim majority currently being enjoyed by the MPP is not a useful scenario going forward for John Mahama presidency. And I think that every Ghanaian should get their loins and ensure that not only do they turn out, but they should encourage a lot more people to turn up and vote in every constituency, police everything from the registration through to the transfer and the mop-up exercises that would happen. They should also ensure that there's vigilance at the polling stations and treat every former appointee to put themselves out as polling agents. It is not everybody who can be on the campaign teams. Where the action really will be getting the vote out, getting to have the votes recorded, and also declared. And we should not rest until the final declaration of not just the president, the incoming president, John Mahama, but every parliamentary candidate. Note that with a 2/3 majority in parliament, laws can be changed. Most people are calling for a constitutional review, and that would need ratification of not less than 2/3 of Parliament. And so I think that should be the goal. Ghana needs to be turned around very quickly, and he has only 4 years to do that. And we must all put our shoulders to the wheel. I trust John Mahama and Jane to do the wonders with the support of Ghanaians. Yes.
Fantastic. Well, I'll come back to you on the campaign team issue before we move on to our main discussion. But before that, let me welcome Selorm. Selorm, good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you're well.
Alhamdulillah, we are surviving.
Great. And I'll ask you about something that you're doing in terms of the Attorney General's continuous stay in office. Yes. Okay. Since let's start from there.
Okay.
Because there have been many calls for him to leave office. He's ignored all those calls. The president, the last time he had the opportunity, only praised him. So he stays in office despite the fact that people have pointed out that his continuous stay in office is untenable. You are trying to achieve that through the platform of protest. How are you going to do that?
Okay. Senator, thank you very much. And let me use the opportunity quickly to say a very good morning to all your esteemed, cherished listeners who are listening to Radio Go this morning and on all your social media platforms. Senator, I belong to pressure groups, and currently I'm a leader of one that is slightly different because of its radical stance on issues. We have come to the stage where we've got to be radical. If really we want to progress. Because it has taken radicals to bring about change that we cherish today, admire today. Those changes have come as a result of the radical stance taken by some individuals. So if we say that the President of the Republic is tone deaf, the President of the Republic is intransigent, he's stubborn, he's obstinate, he doesn't listen. The president holds the position he holds in trust. The sovereignty of Ghana resides in the people of Ghana. Expressly enshrined in Article 1 of the Constitution. Article 1, Clause 1. So the Attorney General of the Republic is embattled, he's embroiled in something that is so damning. That he himself is in a civilized society. That gentleman himself would have taken the decision just to bow out, and will even be calling for an independent, extensive, exhaustive investigation into the allegations being leveled against him. But that is not a culture here. So we are trying to instill that culture here.
Okay.
So if the president, for instance, we need to petition Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo that this your appointee is embroiled, okay, and the position he holds is a sensitive one.
Okay.
If the Attorney General, for instance, goes to court, procures a conviction, okay, that will land somebody in jail, Ghana Action Network, under the circumstances, will be compelled to get physical by preventing that person from going to jail. Because the very person through whom the conviction has been procured, that person himself is not morally and constitutionally, legally fit to get that conviction. Okay. You understand? Yeah. So this is a radical group as it exists in other, elsewhere. There's no democracy that doesn't have radical groups. All right. So the group I had is a radical one, because we are impatient to see this country progress. Okay. So we have we have constitution that regulates us. Okay. But the people who are supposed to be upholding the laws of this country themselves are circumventing the constitutional processes. You understand? By engaging in conduct that do not promote, the progress of this country. Okay. You understand? So I, as a citizen of the Republic, including members of Ghana Action Network, we are embarrassed, we are exasperated that the Attorney General still holds his position as Attorney General of this country. So we would petition the president. Okay. When I use president, because I stopped describing Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as president, advisedly, I'm using the president thing this morning, advisedly, because the president himself, on the 26th of August last year, had relinquished his position as the president of the Republic.
How?
Oh, you didn't hear this? Akufo-Addo had abdicated his responsibility as the president of the Republic on 26th August last year, 2023, when he, without any shred of duress, he was not under any compulsion or duress, said he will be the first person to admit the difficulties that his incompetent gross mismanagement of the economy had plunged us into. That lot of difficulties. So Ghanaians are staggering and reeling under economic hardship. But just that he doesn't have potent antidote or solutions to the difficulties he has plunged us into. Okay. But he's only waiting, or he has confidence in the next person that will succeed him, okay, to lift us from the difficulties he has created. Has the president, this thing not resigned? So he has resigned. It's only this country. You see, elsewhere, this thing would have constituted sufficient ground for the president to be removed. Even if not through parliament, because the nature of parliament, that will not happen. So a group of Ghanaians can stage protest, occupy the presidency, and call for his resignation. Because he has resigned. What he stopped short of doing is just to tender in a written resignation letter. You understand that? So that is the situation we are running. Because a king or a chief who has relinquished his position but has refused to vacate the palace inevitably puts himself in confrontation with his subjects. So as we speak, Akufo-Addo has put himself in confrontation with some of us. We don't recognize him, but because he has refused to vacate the presidency, we are willingly going to be dealing with him because he's still occupying that position. You understand? He's still because he has refused to vacate the presidency. So we describe him as an imposter of a president.
Imposter of a president.
Sure.
He has a legal 4-year mandate which will expire.
No, let me read this article to you, and you will see why Akufo-Addo shouldn't continue to be. That is Article 1, Clause 1 of the Constitution. It says, the sovereignty of Ghana resides in the people of Ghana, in whose name and for whose welfare the powers of government are to be exercised in the manner and within the limits laid down in this constitution. Is the president not there to champion our welfare? Is that not his mandate? So if the president is telling you that he doesn't have solution to champion our welfare, what is he doing there? No, what's he doing there? Look, it's about time, we started drumming some of these things. Because if we truly want this democracy to grow, some of these things should be acted upon. Because he himself, because the person is clear. Look, he was unambiguous. He said, I don't have any solution on mind. You understand? To lift you from the difficulties I've created for you. But I am confident that the next leader who will succeed me will lift you from the difficulties. Has that person not resigned? So what's that person doing there? So when we present a petition to him, we are only giving him opportunity to even use it to say that, okay, now I am alive to my duties now. Okay, I am recanting what I said on 26th of August 2023. I'm recanting that. Okay, so if he doesn't do it, we will give him the petition. He peruse the petition. Well, then we will start acting. We can physically prevent the Attorney General from going to his office. It's under the Constitution of Ghana. You want me to read that?
No.
The duties of citizens of Ghana, boldly enshrined in Article 41. Our duties. So we can physically prevent the Attorney General from, accessing his office because he's not fit to be there. Yes, that's it.
When would you present this petition to the president?
We actually wrote a letter to the police, and the date stated in that letter was 25th.
Okay.
But our first meeting with the police, we had to do some variations to some amendment to the letter. So it means that the things we have agreed upon now would compel us to write a new letter to them.
Okay.
Okay. So it will be as though that letter it's vitiated by the new agreement.
Okay.
You understand? Okay. So that letter will be submitted, and we will definitely petition the president, and we start acting.
Okay.
We will start acting because look.
So has a new date been agreed?
So yes. So that means that per what we have agreed on with the police,
okay,
it may affect the date.
Okay. It may affect the date.
Yeah, it may affect the date. You understand? Because
25th is next week.
Exactly, Tuesday. Yeah. Because in that letter, we just stated 20 of us to present the petition. Okay. Because we wanted to present the petition at the Jubilee House. Okay. So the police, as usual, said the Jubilee House, that would be difficult for them. Mm-hmm. So we should, understand them. And it was okay. So now, we agreed on Lunch City.
Okay.
Lunch City. So it's around the TV3.
Yes.
Correct. So the demonstration will terminate there.
At Lunch City.
At Lunch City. Mm-hmm. So the president or whoever will come for the petition. Okay. You understand? So then we are done with that stage.
Okay.
Now we'll be waiting for their response. Okay. If the response is not forthcoming, we will start acting on the content of our petition.
Okay. So I'll be looking forward to do that new arrangement.
Yes.
And we'll have a conversation on it.
Yes.
But let me go to Prince Derek Adjei. In fact, I really have to take your view on this Attorney General matter. You served yourself. You had the opportunity of serving in government. Is it a surprise to you? Because for someone like me, surprising. I recall even when I was watching the Donald Trump proceedings, the fact that there were two people on the same legal team were having an affair alone was enough for the Donald Trump team to ask that the lady be recused and everything. Are you surprised that he's still in office?
Well, it depends on who the head is.
Okay. Depends on who the head is. Sure.
The appointing authority. The Attorney General did not appoint himself.
Okay.
And so if his appointing authority is in the habit of clearing any and everybody who is found in one corruption or corruption-related activity or the other, then you should expect that as a direct consequence of that, the Attorney General will feel emboldened to stay. Indeed, just after he was rebuked in court by the judge and asked to, as it were, remove himself from the case, days after, just shortly thereafter, the law office building became an excuse for endorsing and singing praises of the same Attorney General whose image had been so badly dented.
Okay.
The Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, unfortunately, joined the President and the Ghana Bar Association in the presence of not just the media and all Ghanaians, but all judges and lawyers were present, okay, at an event to occasion the commissioning of that law office. They sang praises of the gentleman who had been rebuked, whose voice we had heard on tape. And not to judge the case ahead of time, I think that it was prejudicial, what is said of him. But for me, what he also said on that occasion was even worse than what had been captured on tape.
Okay.
He indicated that that very building, that's the law house, as he has chosen to call that building, which is supposed to be the new offices for the Ministry of Justice and Attorney Generals, had procurement breaches as of the time he took over. He identified procurement breaches in the contract that was awarded for the building of the law house.
Okay.
Yet, he did not cause an investigation. He did not cause an arrest. He did not cause prosecution. And this was on live television in the presence of the Chief Justice, the President of the Republic, judges, magistrates, lawyers, and the Ghana Bar Association that has been quiet all this while after his tapes have been, aired. I believe that is the one person who was never mentioned in all of that speech, that's the special prosecutor, should be looking into this case. I mean, he should stop his anchoring, games that is whatever. He should get serious. And I think that other state investigative bodies must take this matter on. Because from his own lips, the Attorney General's own lips, and we don't expect him to prosecute himself. So I would want, not just Radio Gold, but every other Ghanaian to take note of this. Play the voice of the Attorney General stating that he and Ken Ofori-Atta and the magnanimity of Ken Ofori-Atta's brother, who was then Chief Justice. You know, the former Chief Justice was Ken Ofori-Atta's brother. I didn't know that.
Which former Chief Justice?
The one who left before her leadership took over.
Any?
You don't know?
They are
blood brothers, yes. Yes. Find out. You can do a DNA test. But I'm saying to you that the Attorney General indicated that he and Ken Ofori-Atta and the Chief Justice at the time worked hard to go around the procurement breaches that had been occasioned and re-awarded the contract to the same company that had been embroiled in that.
The procurement breaches.
Yes. And then he quickly had the thing done as a building so that it can be done ahead of an election, so that they can sing praises of the president, who then, as Attorney General, initiated the process during the Kufuor era. Arrested at this point, but entreat the Fourth Estate, the media, not Manasseh, the media, the entire Fourth Estate, to go into the tape. It is a video tape, and I'm sure if you Google it, you get it. You get the audio, you will get the video. Okay. And this one is not from Jakba. It is from he himself. Let us go into it. And if the Chief Justice is minded, she should also institute an independent inquiry into these affairs. Because at the end of the day, the Chief Justice has asked that there should be a national dialogue on lands, and that is one of the main things I want to discuss today. And that the way lands are handled in the country, etc., are the reasons why investments are not coming to Ghana and why we have these issues. She knows that two of her lady predecessors, Chief Justice Sophia Akufu and Georgina Wood, were embroiled in land looting. Georgina Wood and Freddie Blay and others took over the International Students Hostel thanks to President Mills. Today we have a foreign affairs building complex or head office complex on the same land that would have been the property of Georgina Wood and Blay and others, Katie Amon and others. Unfortunately, and I don't know about how his petition is going to fare under Akufo-Addo. Unfortunately, an Article 146 petition that I did against Sophia Akufu for taking prime cantonment's land belonging to the last two, which had been acquired by the government of Ghana, had been given to her for 7,000 Ghana cedis. Prime land in cantonments.
Cantonments land.
Cantonments.
7,000.
7,000 Ghana cedis.
Cantonments land.
Yes, some judges got it for 6,000 something, and there's a certain Supreme Court judge who got his for less than 7,000.
Cantonments.
Yes, cantonments.
Land in cantonments for 7,000 Ghana cedis.
Yes.
Somebody even gone 5,000.
About 6,000 thereabout and so on. Yasaf Mafu got some. I mean, name it. In fact, we would embark on a name and shame process if we have to buy a billboard, okay, or buy airtime on those billboards that run the names around the Dankwa Circle and so on. We will do that and name and shame all the land looters. I mean, there's a classic case of a non-millionaire who was on the verge of committing suicide because he had gone bankrupt. Thanks to President Kufuor giving him land that belonged to the last two, that's the ambassadorial enclave. He is today one of the richest people in Ghana. I'm talking of Zoom Lion. There would have been no Zoom Lion, but for last two lands given by President Kufuor. In fact, President Kufuor gave his brother-in-law, J.H. Mensah, the late J.H. Mensah, same. And it goes on and on and on. A lot of big people have benefited from last state lands. If that is a good policy, why should it not be extended to all Ghanaians who will all be millionaires? In fact, least of all, why should the La people, myself included, as royals, not be given some? But I don't want it. I believe that my grandfather, the La Manch at the time, when he was given the lands for Ghana to be a nation, an airport, a University of Ghana, Preseg, Burma Camp, Trade Fair, name it, all these lands that were given for nation building, not for Ghana government at some point to pass it on to third parties, particularly state actors, people who are officials of government, their friends, family, and business associates, as it's been happening. Look, I want you to find out who has taken over the DVLA building, the lands in that area, 37. All that stretch adjacent to the airport city, and you'll be surprised at the kinds of people whose names will pop up. I want you to also look at the names of those who are building all those magnificent skyscrapers around cantonments, Laboni, airport, and so on. And you ask yourself, how much does building materials cost? What is the cost of these? Forget about the land. Assuming they were given to those lands at 7,000 Ghana cedis. So discount the land. Even though we know the value of the land, okay? And they're not paying the true value of the land. What they are putting on top of it, where are they getting the money from? So it will not be a shock at all that Cecilia Dapa, as part of her, crimes of, hoarding money and so on, that she's now been given to go and chop, had a money laundering scheme attached to her tag. I don't know whether the SFO will stand by it, or the Yoko boss will stand by it, or any other entity will stand by that charge. But she had some entity that was supposed to be in real estate. Remember? That was supposedly churning out some money from cantonments. That is what it is. In fact, you remember also Sam George did indicate that the greater people were doing money laundering, and they were angry up in arms that real estate had become a conduit for money laundering. Galamsey and corruption proceeds were being channeled through land, transactions and real estate. Yes, the executive secretary or director of the the grader finally came to confirm that some of their members are indeed engaged in that. And I wanted to stress this and bring it back to the Attorney General's statement about even how the land acquisition for the law house, which is supposed to be the address of the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General, which is supposed to prosecute cases, including people who have committed all sorts of offenses, including this one. The land itself, acquisition, he said, in his own words, that there were problems, challenges. He should come forth and address the media and tell us exactly what he meant by all of that. I think we should not let him off the hook. It's not just about the Jakpa case, but his own words beyond what he may claim to be text messages and tapes that may be doctored or whatever else. This one we all watch live on television. So I'm treating you to do that. And then later we can talk about maybe what's happening with the hotels and the beachfront. And
in fact, we'll come to that. In fact, you have raising this matter, because this matter of the lands was a major part of the demonstration that was held on Tuesday. But before that, I wanted to ask you about what to make of the campaign team your party has announced. What do you think?
Yeah, there will be several campaign teams. There will be regional campaign teams. There will be constituency campaign teams. Okay. And for those people who have not heard their names or have not heard some names and maybe worried about, people are going to play roles where they are needed the most.
Okay.
And where you are not even named, you must, as a national duty to save this country, take a position that you can play very well. I mean, some of us started way before this time. I chose 2 constituencies where I live. That's Ablekuma West. And where I hail from, that is La. In fact, by hailing from La, I'm automatically entitled to be campaigning in more than just the Ladeko-Tupon constituency. I'm supposed to be doing the also West Wagwan, which is also La land. Madina is also La land. The Adenta. So I'm going to lend my support to all the candidates that are there, because like I said, we need to have an absolute majority for President Mahama to achieve in 4 years what the devil has done in 8 years. I'm sorry. When I say the devil, I'm not saying the president is the devil. No, am I saying Mahmoud Bawumia is the devil?
Okay.
But they have been instruments of the devil.
Instruments of
the devil. And taking Ghana far back. If you allow the devil to possess you, you become an agent of the devil. I mean, a mother serpent cannot be an agent of God. Corruption is not good, is it? So if not only are you supervising corruption, clearing people who have been corrupt, but have been labeled by your own appointee who is tasked to ensure that corruption and corruption-related issues are addressed, points you as the number 1 person sitting at the top of a chain of corruption serpents, and names you as a mother serpent. Are you the agent of the devil or the agent of God? Now, if you are the vice president who was touted to be the economic messiah or mate or whatever else, and you've plunged us into what we are experiencing today, that people are dying, that you are not even speaking to the economy anymore, that you are lying even in broad daylight, and little kids are exposing you. You don't know the things you talk about, and yet you mount platforms to chastise your opponent just for the name of politics. That we can't trust someone who has put nurses training allowance aside, only for a young nurse to point that out to you, when you don't know that Dumso is no longer something that you can campaign about, but pretending that it's not. In the middle of your campaign, once you are lying about the youth of this country, the lights go off. Okay? Are you an agent of God? So look, let's be clear. Let us all, as Ghanaians, Christians, Muslims, traditional, whatever, all believers of the Almighty God and the one God that we serve in different ways, note that this election is about not just right and wrong, it's about good triumphing over evil and the devil's agents being put to rest. There's money in this country. Ghana is not broke. Contrary to what we are led to believe. Some people have the money. It is under their beds. It's in their polytanks. It is in buildings that they are making as the conduits for corruption and galamsey. How many people from the galamsey industry are not trying to enter into parliament this time around under the ticket of the MPP? You can name Eko Owusu, you can name Charles Bisu, you can name Charles Owusu. You know Charles Owusu? Sir John's guy who he willed his thing forever. He's also trying to go to parliament. I mean, just name it. There are several of them. Oh, today, in fact, even Akufo-Addo's driver is trying to partner Akufo-Addo's mate in the next government. So the mate of Akufo-Addo, who is best economy, and the one who physically drives him in his car around, has now been promoted to become a candidate for the MPP in Ladeko-Tupon. during their primaries, you should have seen the obscene manner in which monies were being, thrown around. Isn't that vote buying? Is that an offense? Is the Attorney General not aware? And if he's aware, what's he doing about it? If he's not aware, today you are aware. Investigate, prosecute. Look, let us not play games with this country and pretend that, Ghana is business as usual. If we are able to collect all the monies that have been stolen, that are hiding in people's beds, and we're able to look at the unexplained wealth of people, which is being translated into properties, property owning democracy. But that doesn't mean that you should grab lands of value and give, peanuts out, and that one doesn't come, and so on and so forth. If we're able to get all these monies, then Ghana will have this money, and Ghana can do the things that it needs to do. That dialysis will not be a problem, that schools can be built, that hospitals can be built. Look, what can't we do when we have our money? We don't need to be at the IMF. In any case, the IMF comes with, little challenges, and they've tied us to several years already. Look at our pensions. Look at what they're doing with the pensions money. Look at what they're doing to our pensioners. Is that what we need? Is that the work of the God that we serve, or is the work of the devil? Aglow. What are they saying to this? They've been praying recently. I want to see them start speaking to these issues, and we must compel our mothers who joined the Aglow movement that Gifty Afeni Dazi must be made to speak. She must be made to speak on these issues. We must compel people to start speaking to these issues. Silence is not an option. And I'm happy that when Jane, Prof, spoke during her inauguration, she did say that she, Jane, and John have met and agreed that anybody who has taken any state asset, whether landed property or any other, will be pursued and made to not only will there be a retrieval, but there will be prosecution. And I want to trust that even if you think that it is not going to happen, let's give them a chance. Because Akufo-Addo has made it very clear he is not going to work on it, and Bawumia has also made it very clear that he's not going to work on it. At least we know one side, they're not going to work on it. The track record of John Mahama, however, is that he prosecuted his own appointees when they even fell short. When even they had thoughts of amassing wealth, he jettisoned them. So at least we have something to judge him on, and we have what we know of the current administration. If Bawumia wants to redeem himself, I want to today hear what Bawumia is going to say about doing, what he's going to do about the lands, the Gadangbe lands, and so on. At least John Mahama has said that he will institute a commission of inquiry into the expropriation of Gadangbe lands and all state lands. That I trust is a way forward.
Selorm, and I'll take your view on this. We'll take a break and come back. We'll discuss the demonstration. What do you think about the NDC campaign team?
Oh, okay. Fantastic. I actually saw the list yesterday, the letter from which emanated from the party about the campaign team. So there's a presidential campaign team, there's a parliamentary campaign team, there's a running mate campaign team. I am not a card-carrying member of the NDC, but my values and principles chime in with the foundational values of the NDC, and especially the founder, Chairman Rawlings. May his gallant soul rest in peace. He was a man I drew enormous inspiration from, and even where he is today, I still draw inspiration from him, and that is what fuels my activism. He was a selfless individual. He was somebody who upheld the principle of egalitarianism. So on that score, I am sympathetic towards the NDC's cause. And I have made it clear that my preferred candidate in this year's election, it's John Dramani Mahama. The last time I was here, I said that, and I told you why. He was my preferred candidate. Even way before he became the standard bearer of the NDC, I told you that that John Mahama, amongst the presidential candidates, he is unique, he is different, he is distinguished. The reason is, human beings, we have three sides. We have 3 sides. We have foresight, we have insight, and then we have hindsight.
Okay.
So when it comes to the presidency and the presidential candidates, John Dramani Mahama stands tall, or he's unique. You understand? Because of these 3 sides. The other individual candidates or standard bearers of the party, those parties, political, let's say the MPP, Baumia, Alankojo Tremantin, Cheddar, those John Mahama is the only candidate now who has these 3 sides. Tremantin may have insight and foresight, but he doesn't have hindsight. Baumia may have insight and foresight, but he doesn't have hindsight. What is critical in this year's election is somebody with hindsight.
Why doesn't Baumia have hindsight?
He doesn't have hindsight. Has he ever been a president before?
He's been vice president before.
No, being a vice president, you are not a president. You may have had occasions where you stood in or for your boss, but you are not a president. You understand? Okay, so John Dramani Mahama has been a president before, so he has the hindsight. The reason hindsight is critical in this year's election is that the avalanche of mess created by Akufo-Addo and Baumia must be cleared by someone with a hindsight. Maybe somebody will be wondering what is hindsight. Hindsight just means that your experience. The experience, you understand? So your ability to even see what is behind you.
You've been there before.
Okay. You understand? So given the avalanche of mess that we are mired in, it will take a competent hand, an experienced hand, to lift us up from the avalanche of mess created by Nana Addo Dankwa and Baumia. Okay. That is why I am campaigning for John Dramani Mahama. Okay. I think since 2020, when he lost the election, I've never rested. You understand? I told you the last time here that even my hair here is just awaiting John Mahama to become president on 7th January 2025. Then I can get this thing off so my hair will come back like yours. You understand? Because that has always been my haircut. You see, so the campaign team, you see, my brother Prince Derek Adjei said something, and that is something that the NDC folks must watch. You see, do you have what it takes to play a role? Do you have what it takes to play a role in a party? Yes, I have what it takes to play a role. Okay, where do you think your role can best, bring votes to the party? Okay. Now me, if I am not on any of the campaign team, because I'm not even a member, so I don't even expect to be on any campaign team. All right, but that will not stop me from doing things that can show up Mahama's votes to win.
Okay,
you understand? Okay, so if you are not on the campaign team, but you are bearing the brunt and the pinch of this maladministration of Baumia and Akufo-Addo, you are compelled under the circumstance to also play a role. Because I remember 2006-78 when we were determined to bring the late Prof, may his soul rest in perfect peace. Bro, I was all over the place championing his cause that Professor Mers should be the next president 2009. And it came to pass. Okay, they should eschew. The NDC has a problem. They must endeavor to eschew pettiness, hatred, and envy.
Pettiness.
Oh yeah, they are NDC full of that. You see, because I am not in there, so I can best tell you. I can tell you from an objective thing that this is the difference between this group and this group. You understand? Let's say President Adjei says something here that will inure to the electoral fortunes of the NDC. If Derek Adjei doesn't belong to a certain circle in the party, that it will never be projected, because President Adjei who said it. But let somebody from that circle said it, it will be always over the place. They will be circulating it. Look, they will, at the speed of light. They want that message to get to everyone. He just said something. I'm sure that's a correct soundbite. The driver of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who is a parliamentary candidate, is partnering the mate of Akufo-Addo. That's a good soundbite for the people of Ladadekutupon constituency to use. His driver, the driver of a failed president, and his mate, they are partnering and promising the good people of Ladadekutupon constituency that they will make life comfortable for them. Can you imagine? But if President Adjei is not a member or he doesn't belong to that circle, it will never happen. Say like your good stuff. Sometimes post something on Facebook. Your station here. This is Radio Gold 90.5. Radio Gold, the way Radio Gold champions the cause and the ideology of that party. When you post your thing, how many reactions do you get? But let somebody from that circle post nonsense cry, you see them. Yesterday, somebody at the demonstration, there was a young lady who came to struggling. I want to take a picture with you. I said, you are not going to post this picture. You'll be waiting for me to be named as somebody, Bahama something before you post this picture. So don't waste your time. I said, oh, why, boss? But I've been taking pictures. I said, when you take pictures with me, do you post them? The ones you think they are influential today, do you go and post pictures because you have taken pictures with them? And lo and behold, yesterday, I saw the thing and I was laughing. Look, this girl did the same thing. She posted those so-called influential individuals in the NDC. Meanwhile, when it comes, when it comes to the work on the ground, we are doing it. You can attest to that. We don't rest. No, I don't have any security around me. Nobody even calls me to say, are you safe? Except my family members who are even not happy because I've chosen to do this. Because it's a risky enterprise. You have chosen to do something under a treacherous government. Okay, so this you eschew that pettiness. Who can bring you the victory you want is this guy. Charlie, let's use this guy. I remember 2012 when Okujeto Ablakwa launched his campaign at Juapon. I was there. I drove all the way from Accra to that place. Somebody said to somebody that, the last election we underutilized Felix Osukwachi. So this time around, let's use him. Because the guy is brilliant. So tell him to go and say something to the crowd. That was the first time Felix Osukwachi mounted the rostrum and started rattling off the achievement of Professor Mills. And I was, this guy, brilliant. So I asked that person, please, can you finish us with some of this thing? Because some of this achievement, me, I'm not aware. Just finish us with this. Look, that person today enjoys some like a position in the NDC. And he enjoys a position in the NDC. The conduct of that person alone is so nauseating, repulsive one. So forget about that character. Do we need a change? Yes. Must Akufo-Addo and his MPP be dislodged? Yes. If you want the Akufo-Addo Bawumia dislodged and put the MPP in opposition for some number of years, this is the time. Forget about those individuals. Whether they don't give you recognition, whether they don't acknowledge what you do, you are doing it for your country, and the time will come when you yourself will begin to enjoy the fruit of this country. Because that's what the Constitution says in the preamble of the Constitution says. That in the name of the Almighty God, we the people of Ghana, in exercise of our right, in exercise of our natural and inalienable right, to establish a framework of government which shall secure for ourselves and posterity the blessings of liberty, equality of opportunity and prosperity. That's what the Constitution, the preamble says. So you are doing it not necessarily for the NDC, but that is what we are enjoyed by the Constitution of Ghana to do. We are not enjoying the blessings of liberty today. We are not enjoying the blessings of equality today. We are not enjoying the blessings of prosperity today, thanks to the kleptocracy established by Nana Addo Dankwa Bawumia. It's a kleptocracy. It's a criminal government established by these people, and we need to dismantle the kleptocracy. It must take a patriotic souls, patriotic people whose blood runs it runs through them, their bloods get boiled up because of the sheer stealing, plunder that is taking place. So don't wait for, I went to the consistency or the consistency campaign team, my name is not there. Your name is not there, so you don't want to work. Work. You see, work. You just do the work. Because you are in politics. The thing is, you are in politics. You don't know when your work today will be speaking for you. So just work. Whether somebody or people don't call you to say, oh, thumbs up. Whether they don't. Does Ghana need change? Yes. Okay, what can I do to bring about that change? This is what I think I can do. Do it. When John Mahama comes, okay, and he starts putting things in place, inflation going down, interest rate going down, unemployment rate plummeting, is that not fruit that we are all going to enjoy? Because otherwise, people, even when he comes and he starts making his appointment, people will get disgruntled because they have not been appointed. But the thing is, it's time and seasons. It may not be your time now. Your time certainly will come. Okay, your time certainly will come. You see Obama's book, Audacity of Hope. That is the nature of hope. Hope is an audacious thing. Hope, audacity of hope. So just be optimistic. Be that eternal optimist. That the circles of Mahama, they don't acknowledge what you do. But a time will come, they will also join a council of elders. They will join the council of elders. That time will come. And when that time comes, that is when you are active. And really, they must work with you. Because if they don't work with you, they will be rendered redundant. Because you are doing your work. So once there's a position, council of elders, one day they will also be promoted to council of elders. And now, the active one, because me, if you remember, I've been telling President Adjei, PDA, that the campaign team should be in the form of what Professor Mills did 208. It should be a blend of old and new faces. Don't use old faces. Use people who are also hungry. They are thirsty to get their names into the annals of, a successful campaign. Okay, like it happened to 2008. Get some young blood who are outspoken, who are energetic, enthusiastic to bring about victory. Old faces, you are running a danger because some of them may have some, issues. They may have stepped on certain toes, okay, in the past, within the party. I say, I see me nobody, but I make your guy because of the person's record. So you brought Okuje to a Blackwa, Prince Derek Adjei, John Jinapo, Fifi Kwete, Elvis Afriankra. 208. They were firing on all cylinders. Fifi Kwete was in his element. But today, Fifi Kwete, per his position as Minister of Agriculture, Deputy Minister of Finance, Minister of Transport, he may have stepped on certain toes. So somebody like that, he must be counterpoised by a new face. You understand? So the new face is also leading that charge. I was expecting that. Well, this one, it looks like but I wouldn't describe it as a moribund. Because we are here to make it active. We are here because we will be going all over the place. Because there's no way, bro, John Dramani Mahama, he must be the president of the Republic. He must be sworn in on 7th January, Tuesday, 2025. Inshallah. Look, let's work hard. When you see a Akufo-Addo, doesn't your blood get boiled up? When you see this, or people aren't aware. Look, so sometimes when I listen to people and they say, are these people not aware of the extent of damage, the destruction these people have caused us? The distraction, the shared distraction these people have caused this country. We have retrogressed under these people. So we need somebody who can accelerate and bring us into where we actually belong. That is the 21st century. Because you have an analog mind who is in the saddle in a digital world. That is an anomaly. It is an anomaly, anomalous situation. That an analog mind, in a digital world. What he knows is to be lavishing fulsome praises on his appointees who are embattled. That is what analog minds do. Because if you follow our politics, the history of our politics, that's sycophancy. And that's sycophancy, bootlicking, done by some even leaders. Leaders. It's just that Akufo-Addo has taken it to a stage where you begin to even wonder whether you should even activate Article 69. Article 69, you know how to remove a president. Because the Constitution talks about physical and mental infirmity. The Constitution says that. The Constitution says that one of the grounds to remove a president is whether the president is mentally fit to continue to hold that position. So, as a group, Ghana Action Network, one of our meetings, we contemplated something like that. That in the face of what is happening today and what the president is doing, you can see that there's a yawning chasm between the president's conduct and the reality. So that thing should even compel us to start initiating a parliamentary process to get him investigated, evaluated, whether he can hold this country together before, during, and after the election. It is critical because here is somebody who is telling us that the person he defeated twice, there's no way he will hand over to that person. He said this. The president of the republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, said this, that he won't hand over to somebody he defeated twice. He said, you Akufi people, I deny you development because you refuse to vote for my parliamentary candidate. You North-Town people, you are even like, I came here because I'm a president. That's why I'm here. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come because you guys don't vote for me. Same person went to a funeral and was asking chiefs to rise up on their feet to greet him. These things are not normal things. And nobody is talking about Article 69. Because we need that thing. He must be checked. He must be checked. Otherwise, this country will go into the election. You remember 2008, when this guy was just when he was the standard bearer of the MPP. He had to take Kufuor to bring the tension down, to dispel the tension. Because this guy wanted to run this country amok. You remember 2008, when they were even saying that, Charlie, it's like the command people, the soldiers don't want to cooperate to. So but we need to do something. So this person was even just a standard bearer. Now he's the one in the saddle. When you know how our security people now work, their allegiance is to the government, not to the state. That's what is happening. Their allegiance is to the government, not to the state. Which is an unfortunate thing. Because their allegiance should be to the state. But they have shifted their allegiance to government. So they are falling over themselves just to be catching the attention of the president for some promotion or some pay rise. That is it. So that is why we need to initiate this thing because that's what the Constitution said. The Constitution says that investigate. Okay, he must be investigated. The thing these things I've mentioned now must be investigated. When investigated, then the speaker will now give this thing to the chief of staff. Sorry, the chief justice, for the chief justice to get experts, medical experts, to conduct evaluation. So they will make the president aware that we are coming to conduct evaluation on you. So they will conduct both psychiatric and psychological evaluation on the president. You see, it's because of our culture, when you mention some of this, is the guy questioning the sanity of the president. But the president is a human being. The president is now in his 80s. The president is clearly displaying senility of mind. He's senile, growing more senile, and that person is the one going to superintend election in this country. And we are not bothered by that. We've got to do something. He must be evaluated before we go into the election. Otherwise, the kind of things that are going to happen, this president doesn't care. He's 80. And mind you, wars are created by people who are too old to fight for people who are too young to die. He has seen it all. No, the president has seen it all. He's 80 years old. So an 80-year-old can create war for people who are too young to die. So we must bear that in mind. He is not going to just allow power like that. That's why we must work and start sending the signal. Like we did 208. We were combat ready, battle ready, sending the signs. This is your campaign. That is what it should be sending. The message it should be sending. Okay. Not fine talk. That sweet talk like a diplomat. Look, if you know you are just a tactful, you always want to be tactful, want to employ finesse. Get the likes of this man, let them speak. Because that ticket, it's like it is too a diplomatic a ticket for me. Because the running mate is an intellectual who will not be using, words I would use. The standard bearer is also the same. He's also, he's also tactful and has that calm disposition. So I was even expecting that that ticket would be counterpoised by, a hot, a firebrand, but that is not it, because the NDC, they say they want also to be like this moderate thing to get their revolutionary other wind. You understand? You understand that? So if your name, I repeat, if your name is not part of the list, go and work. Elections are not won on social media because there's no police station on Facebook. Is there a police constituency on Facebook?
But the people who belong to the polling station are also on Facebook.
No, we have two worlds. Two worlds we have now. Actual world, or the real world, and the virtual world. What obtains in the actual world must reflect in the virtual world. But the only thing is that, as for the ballot box, it will not be placed on Facebook for us to go and queue and vote.
Yeah, but the people
you have an actual place you go. No, there's something there. If you are obsessed with the social media thing, you are not going to work on the ground. Because on social media, you want praises. I want to post this thing that I'm working. No, you've got to work. Your work must speak for you. Your work must speak for you.
Okay.
When we say we are marching to Jubilee House, don't wait for instruction from your party. That is the party going to give us permission to go? If there's no instruction from the party, but will this thing give your party an advantage? If it's going to give your party advantage, do it. June 4th, we, Ghana Action Network, we wrote to the police that will be using the Revolutionary Squad. We'll be lighting the perpetual flame. Because what triggered the June 4th in 1979, the things are here today, and they are in their worst form. So let's seize the moment to remind Akufo-Addo that if you are not careful, June 4th, another June 4th will occur, and we don't want June 4th. Okay. So please start putting things in place to avert June 4th. If you don't, June 4th will come because it's breathing down our necks.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Would you like to comment briefly before I take a break? Yeah, so I'll take this break. I'll be right back. When we come back, we'll talk about the demonstration.
Hey, have you heard? Third Eye Care and Vision Center is at it again. They are giving a 50% discount on everything, including glasses and glaucoma tests to everyone 60 years and above. And this is actually
it's totally ridiculous. And the and then for Ghana, for all Ghanaians, it is